Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is on the Hard Slog, where we shine the light on small local businesses. Hey guys, and welcome to the Positive Experience Podcast. Today's segment is on the Hard Slog, where we shine the light on local businesses doing great work for our community. So I've got my mate George here with us today. Howdy, George. How are you?
How's it going? Very well. Yourself, Licky?
Good, mate. Good. As best we can, I suppose, but we'll push on regardless of the environment that we're in. Today, I would just like to thank you for making the time to chatting with us today. And where I'd like to start off, mate, is we'll get to the stuff that you do for work, where your passion is in finance. Absolutely, we'll get there. But I always like going back to the origin story. You know, if you see yourself as like a superhero, superheroes have origin stories on how they got their superpowers, you know? So just give us a snapshot on your upbringing, where you were raised in Australia or overseas, if you're born overseas, and maybe just a snapshot on your high school experience and then university, and then we'll go from there. So tell us the journey at the start.
Awesome. So originally born in South Auckland, New Zealand, in Mangere, and migrated over to Australia in '94. So pretty much Aussie citizen. We first landed in Queensland. We were there for about 2-3 years. Then made the trip down south to Victoria, where mum's sister and my auntie lives. So been here ever since then. Majority of my life has always been in the Western suburbs. Proud Western suburbs boy. I'm of Polynesian descent. Dad's full Samoan, mum is Samoan, half Chinese, so a bit of Asian in me. Schooling all in Australia. Did TAFE, and then I did my cert in finance. So what led to me being a mortgage broker.
Awesome. Snapshot. And could you give us a snapshot on the sort of the household, the personal story? So
yes, so depends on what day you ask me. I'm happily married with two under two. So I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old boy and a girl, keeping me busy, or keeping us both busy. But yeah, so been together for 10 years plus, happily married, I say, 5 years. So and counting. Congratulations.
And you still got a full head of hair, mate. So you're doing well. You've got to share the secret.
This is a good angle. You don't want to see from the back.
Awesome. So when you got into TAFE and you're heading down the finance say pathway, was there a reason why, like in high school, you weren't just sort of you didn't jerry so well, or you didn't like it, or maybe there was an uncle or an auntie that was in this field? Like how did you get to this sort of game plan?
So look, it was 8 years sort of in insurance, and I dealt with end-to-end management in terms of claims, and I dealt with a lot of people going through hardship. And I'll put them on sort of a savings plan to, you know, it was just like the bare minimum for like a $500 or $50 excess. So it got to those times where I was sort of giving, I wouldn't say financial advice, but sort of how to manage their money to save for the excess. And I thought, you know, well, I think we're going to get to that sort of the light bulb moment where there's not many Polynesians in finance, and I know there's a lot of sort of families struggling. So I think this is a real opportunity for me to sort of branch out and sort of do my thing. Cool.
So so you saw an opportunity and you thought, man, okay, I'm going to go for it. If we were to take a step back and explain like excess, maybe in sort of plain terms, what does that mean in terms of insurance?
So because I was in motor, so if you're found to be at fault or liability still to be determined, the excess is applicable. So generally it's just I'll probably change now. Back then it was probably a $550 excess. And if you have sort of a voluntary excess, an age excess, it can end up being like $1,500. So it can be really, really pricey. And if you're living week to week, $1,500 is a lot of money. So I was at, as I mentioned, end-to-end from lodgement to settlements, working with customers. How do you know, trying to get to that point to save eventually $1,500. So it was good times.
Okay, gotcha. So there would have been definitely challenging, like, because in the real world, $1,500 for anyone's a lot of money, and to come up with that to meet an excess obligation, so it can trigger your insurance claim. A lot of people can fall over with that because it comes back to financial education and financial literacy sort of thing. Like, did you find that was a big challenge for most Australians and maybe the Polynesian community?
Yes, definitely. So even to this day, I'm finding a lot of I guess couples, individuals, sort of living week to week, and that's where I sort of come into play and work with them, and not just sort of give them sort of a plan and see you later. So I like to work with individuals, with families, working. A lot of them have a 3, 6, 12, 24-month goal. I had one customer reach out saying a 5-year goal, and look, I'm more than happy to have a chat. And that's sort of where I like to come into play, sort of personalize the journey, not sort of the guy behind the I guess the laptop, or
Yeah,
like
the
to
Iron
sort
Curtain.
of build the rapport.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would be the main type of okay, so in my basic brain, if I had a car accident and I have an excess, so I need to front up the first little bit of cash, which let's say is $500 to $1,500. Then my insurance company will take over the rest of the claim to help me with my car and whatever services I need to get it back on the road. As a summary, does that kind of make sense? Is that the world that you're kind of playing in? Okay. So is that the world that you're currently still playing in, or did you make a transition from where you were in the auto insurance land to where you are now? Like how are things different for you now?
Oh, it's a whole different ballgame, man. You go from a comfortable salary to whatever you're sort of riding. So it was a very, very big transition in regards to the industry from to insurance to finance. So I had to sort of, they call it a greening, learning the ropes from the start, which was a good experience, a tough experience, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So a lot of people learn online, going to lectures and that sort of stuff, where I learned most of the industry doing the day-to-day sort of activities, which is, don't get me wrong, I did learn a lot studying, but a lot of it was sort of engaging with customers and sort of running different scenarios. So there's so many variables when it comes to finances. It's not always black and white, which I loved, which is challenging, which is a good part of the role.
Okay, so you're in the real world getting your hands dirty, and in the real world, sometimes it's really important to have a good mentor, like the master and apprentice model, where someone can kind of show you the inside track. Like, did you find that was helpful in that particular early stage for you, and is it something that you still buy into now?
100%. So my mentor, I sort of sat in with him for I think it was probably about 3 months, unpaid. And that's where I sort of learnt a lot of his process, which sort of adapted into my my business. And forever thankful for that opportunity. And I'm still looking. I still consider myself as a rookie in the industry. A lot of guys that I affiliate with 30, 40, 50 years plus in the industry. And I try to be a sponge when I either chat to them on the phone or catch up for a coffee or a beer or two.
Or a few. Man, yeah, so that's awesome. So you also buy into this idea of, having the seasoned veteran and just learning and soaking up all the lessons, because it kind of gives you the fast track into your own career development, regardless if you're a plumber, if you're a surgeon, you're not going to know where to, chop the pieces up. You gotta actually be there and learn side by side in the trenches from the guys that are in there. So it sounds like that's a really valuable lesson. Knowing where you are now, would there be something that you would tell George from 12 months ago to help that process? Like, is there something within yourself, self-development wise, that you've really worked on to be a better person in finance?
Look, in all honesty, I think I follow a lot of brokers, and like I always had at the back of my mind, why aren't I doing it as well as they are? But the day I focused on myself and my business alone is the day I realized, or the day I noticed, I should say, is the business started getting busier, because I wasn't focusing on the outside noise. I was just focusing on me. my day-to-day sort of activities and where I wanted to be. So so it was more just focusing on myself and my business alone. Don't worry about other brokers and what they're doing. Focus on yourself.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you're kind of just trying to go inward, and sometimes we can get distracted when you're like kind of paying too much attention to what everyone else is doing, and then you just start spinning your wheels, and you can get frustrated.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. With that though, would you say, with running and operating your own business, what would be a setback that you didn't foresee, or one big challenge maybe that you've come to learn? Because it's kind of like the question I've just asked, but what I'm trying to shed the light on is running a business isn't easy, but at the same time, it shouldn't be easy. It should be challenging because, the cream rises to the top. What would you have found that was a surprising challenge when you went out on your own from insurance to finance?
It was more, look, I don't really like saying it, but there's a lot of sales that's involved. At the end of the day, you can have the best product out on the market, but if you can't sort of have that connection with your customers, you're not really going to succeed as well as others out there. So for me, it was more building rapport with clientele. Well, I had no clientele, so initially it was finding the business, finding referral partners who already had their established connections, so other brokers. So what could I bring differently? So I was finding that very, very difficult in the first year and a half, say 2 years of the business. But look, I stuck with it. I stuck through it. Got a lot of no's. It was very disheartening, but it's where I am today. So if it just made me more resilient and more hungry.
Man, I love that. Being consistent and showing up is part of the deal, really, because back to what I said before, it should be hard. If you didn't get the arrows in the back and you didn't get those war wounds, you would have given it up. But because you didn't, I think it resonates with people who are watching your journey and maybe were holding off for asking for help. But because you're confident in yourself and you've had that growth, and you've got the know-how and you're developing all that sort of stuff, it really rings true, So if that's an observation that's true in finance, it's true in health, it's true in plumbing, rails, whatever, I think people will love it when you show up and you're consistent. That consistency rings true when, you're on Instagram, because, check out George's Instagram profile, he's very active. I love it. If there's a way to make something like finance interesting, George does it, so big pat on the back for you there, big fella. So one thing that before I sort of transition to some quick fire questions, I just wanted to ask if there's like a personal philosophy that you're modeling off someone, or something that you've developed within yourself. Like being consistent is one theme. Don't worry about too much about anyone else, just focus on yourself. That's another theme. Is there a central philosophy that you believe in?
Look, I wouldn't say central, but like I've put this out there a lot, and it's like, if it was easy, everyone will be doing it. Same thing with business. I think the last I read was like 3 out of 4 fail within the first 2 years. Don't quote me on that. If it was easy, everyone would have their own property. If it was easy, everyone would have their own investment property. That's what sort of sets you apart from. Look, there's nothing wrong with renting, as I said. From those who rent, from those who own a property, from those who have a property portfolio. So if it was easy, everyone will be in the same boat, sort of thing. So it's what sets you apart from everyone else.
Yeah, perfect. And if you're looking to pay for advice, and if you're going to see a doctor because you're a specialist, because you're paying for the opinion of the specialist and you're going to make a well-informed decision, you're going to pay to see the specialist. If you're going to see somebody for an opinion on your accounting and balancing the books, same thing. If you're looking to canvas your options in terms of finance, again, you're looking to pay for the service. So I'm a big proponent on getting the right advice from the people that like, and trust. So awesome feedback for us there, George. If I was just going to transition to some easy quick fire questions, just so we can get to know George a little bit more, I'm going to give you one or the other, and you can just pick, okay, or both, up to you. So beach or trees? Which one do you buy? Beach. Okay.
Beach.
Did you grow up? Where did you grow up in the West? Were you on the coast somewhere?
I mean, Dragonina.
Oh, yeah. Is that where you are now, or you grew up around here?
Originally a Sunshine boy.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't afford sunshine, so I moved out in the sticks.
All right, cool. Night out or Netflix?
Night out.
Good man. A couple of beers or two, yeah?
Yeah.
Nepal or New York?
New York.
Okay. Inner city loft or country acreage?
Inner city loft.
City slicker. Ford or Holden?
Ford, mate.
Okay. So last one here, quick fire. If I was to pull your phone out and, pop up the Instagram app, what would be one of the main people that you're following for a laugh, or maybe someone that's inspirational, maybe someone in your field? Like, who's someone that you tune into every day on Insta?
ProPhysio.
Oh, don't do it. I'll slip you the
Yeah, that one. Nah, I thought I'd chuck that one out there. I like Gary V's approach. Just like no care attitude. He says how it is. I follow a lot of more inspirational pages, but him as a person sticks out. I just love his approach and just the way he sort of delivered his delivery. His social media is on point. He's got his own social media person, so Gary V. But on that note, I follow a lot of the more inspirational, just stuff you can learn from.
Yep, grow as a person. I'm a big Gary V follower too, mate. So big shout out, Gary V.
Good
work, mate.
Was it last year?
Hey?
I think last year. Did you go to his conference?
Yeah. There was a conference here. I missed out on it. I think my brother went, but so I lived through it.
Okay, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you went? Okay, awesome. Cool, mate. So we're heading down the home stretch. So I'd just like to give you the spotlight and maybe talk about anything that you have coming up or any news that you'd like to share with the audience, mate. The floor is yours.
Look, no sort of any promotions coming up. It's just more, I get asked a question in regards to your fees. Do you charge a fee? No. As a broker, it's more options. So, Lecky, who do you bank with? Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. NAB.
NAB. You made that up. You thought about it. Anyway, so if Lecky was to go to NAB will only offer him their products. They're not going to have comparison products. So as a broker, we're not tied down to one product. We have, lost count, probably 20 plus different lenders. So that's where a broker comes in and gives you options. So when we understand not one box ticks all, sort of as to say, so some may be, casual income, self-employed, or for whatever reason, tax debt, and your sort of lender may not have the appetite for it, where there are other lenders will. So that's sort of, as a broker, what we do. So that I get asked quite a lot, do you get charged a fee and what do you do? So I thought I'd put that out there for those who don't know.
Perfect. So to me, it's kind of like the finance broker is bridging the gap from, instead of one-to-one, one-to-many, give you a whole heap more options so that you can play the best card with whatever suits your situation.
100%.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. So look, George, I really appreciate your time today and shining the light on the finance industry. I know for a lot of people, it can be a bit sort of murky because they just don't understand it. When you don't understand it, you're fearful. But, you're a personable guy. You're really active online, which is really important because that's where we do all our cruising around. So, guys, I would encourage that you check out George's Instagram and Facebook following. So if you can just give us a shout out where we can find you on Insta, what's the handle?
So it's just George the Broker, no spaces. Look for my mugshot on there and follow. And I think on Facebook it's George Liberty Financial, or just punch in George Tofa, and I'm pretty sure I'm ranked number 1. And if you want to see my reviews, just Google George Tofa. I think I've got a few up there.
Awesome. So there you go, guys. George, he's a local guy, local fella, and he'll do great work for our local community. So check him out online, and I appreciate your time today, George, and hope you have a great day.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, mate. Speak soon.
See you guys. Cheers. Bye.